He has been an actor. From there, he went into theater studies, then QA, then business intelligence, then full stack development, then after running some conferences, then also speaking on different conferences. So, like, I can say that the man, again, who is like in everywhere. But there has been like very, very special moment for us, and we were already being in touch that we want you to be on stage, right? So that is the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome first speaker of Laracon 2024, Day 2, James Seconde. You have to dance, 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 boom, 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 boom.
Hello, Laracon India. How are we doing? I tell you what, I saw you lot last night. You can party. I've never been to a conference where people can party that much. It was amazing. Thanks for that intro. Yes, like I said, I've never been to a tech conference where I've had an intro like that before. That was pretty intense. I'm James Seconde, everybody, and I have flown to India today, a couple of days ago from Birmingham in England. And we're famous for, I don't know, Cadbury's chocolates and the invention of the genre of heavy metal. But you're probably not interested in that. You're probably more interested in the fact that we invented an average curry called the Balti. And we also have Edgbaston, which is the home of English cricket. It's not Lords. No one wants to go there. It's London. That's rubbish. Can I get my slides? That would be nice. Oh, I need to log into my computer. And also, I need to get my password right. That looks good. Ah, yes, right. You're not Jesse James. I realize that some of you might not know who Jesse James is. It's a famous bandit in the American Wild West. So we are going to go to the American Wild West today, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a little bit about me. I've already done my bit about Birmingham. My team love to laugh at me because I keep on talking about how great Birmingham is. But if you want to see my socials and things like that, I am active in that, and that's the PHP Mastodon. There is my LinkedIn, and there is a graveyard of terrible code. But I have lied to you, Laracon. I'm sorry. I've lied to the organizers. I'm sorry. When I presented this talk and I pitched it and I said, please, can I do a talk? I said it was just me. But it's not me. I have a co-presenter, which is very mysterious. So, here he is. I have summoned the ghost of Mr. John Wayne, and I hope the sound will work. John, come and say hello. That's it. Oh, you want to go this side? Okay, cool. All right, John, can you say hello to everybody, please?
I know you from someplace, don't I?
No, you can't, because the sound's not working. Maybe if I press the back button, and then I do it again, maybe the sound will be noisier. So can you speak up, John?
I know you from someplace.
No, you need to speak louder, John. Let's try again. Volume up, volume up.
I know you from someplace.
No, more volume. Give me volume. Never put sound in your presentations.
I know you from someplace, don't I?
Yeah, you do. Jim Seconde, that's better, John. If you keep the volume around that level, maybe even a little bit higher. Jim Seconde, I invited you to speak, to help me speak at Laracon India. You know? Jim Seconde, I did a dissertation in stand-up comedy at university. I told you about that, didn't I?
Well, it's nice to find a fellow with a keen sense of humor.
Oh, thank you very much. Right, let's crack on. So, I'm going to do an outline of what we're going to talk about. So, here it is. People want software. We make software. Good. There are no rules or regulations on how to do this. And the result is, yeehaw! And for this, I realize I must put on appropriate gear, such as a cowboy hat. I had to carry this all the way through the airport, and it would look pretty stupid. So, this is going to be in certain parts. So, part number 1 will be the bad. I will talk to you about bad things. Part number 2 will be the good. Do you see where I'm going here? Huh? Number 3. Why should we obey the law? and for the ugly conclusion. Good, bad, ugly. Ha ha ha, Jim, you are so funny. You are so funny. Right. So, you have a choice, Laracon. What side do you want to be if you're in the Wild West? What's it gonna be, partner? You see I'm doing my John Wayne impression? I'm really angry now. He's so bad at acting. Oh, don't tell him. What's it going to be? Do you want to be the law? Or are you going to be a bandit? So, with this, like all good lawmakers, I cannot do this alone. So I have enlisted some deputies. They look like this. And we will be hearing from my deputies as we go along during the talk. Let us talk about the bandits. Look, I know that it's cool to be a bandit in the films, yes, but you know, if I was John Wayne, I'd say something like, "There's a lot of PHP shops in this town, and ain't half of them bad." And I don't know. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to carry on doing that because it sounds rubbish. But look, what makes us bandits? Number one, this is the part called the bad. So we're going to go through all the bad things. This one, when I asked people, crops up the most. Around these parts, partner, we ship us fast as the wind. If you work in agencies, time is money. And if time is money, I'm telling you, if you do not take that problem seriously, this is the start of your problems. Cutting corners starts, and that is where problems begin. So let us hear from my deputies. This is Dan Nunes from Jump 24. One of the biggest pitfalls we've seen is how people structure their code. We often find lots of copy and paste, copy and paste. If you're copy and pasting, please don't copy and paste. Bad, bandit. Meaning we have to make changes to a query, for instance. We have to make them and then change them in several places. Ugh. And then similarly, we're going to hear from D as well. Quick fixes over real solutions are a major alarm bell. It's like constantly patching up a boat instead of fixing the hole. This all comes into tech debt. I will talk about tech debt later. Next up, scale and N+1. If you do not consider scale or the N+1 problem in your ORM, it looks like baloney. If you don't consider how they act with it, how your developers interact with the ORM, you start running into big problems, right? And then you end up with this, a horse apple. Let's hear from another deputy. This is Matt Staffer from Titan. I have seen that people frequently don't learn the cost of their database queries. Yes, Eloquent ORM will help you, and you need to use it properly, but also your developers must understand how relational database systems work. It's not enough to just have them using the ORM. You need more. If we're going to be bandits, we need to do a bank robbery. And I've issued the bank robbery with doing exactly what a ticket says. So let me give an example of why I've put a bank robbery on there. It's a bank robbery. Right, you've done the plan. The job is you need to get past the guard who is probably sleeping for some reason, because they're always sleeping. And you need to open the safe. You have brought the dynamite, or Jeff, or Marshall Law, or I don't know. I'm not very good at making up Western names, clearly. Has brought the dynamite. Who's got the matches? No one's got any matches. If you do what it says on the ticket, i.e. move this button to here, or make the button call this, which uses loads of services, but you don't consider what happens with the rest, you need to consider the impact of what is happening around you. If you think, that will probably affect other things, but it's not in the ticket, I will do it anyway, don't do that. That is the bank robbery. You end up with the dynamite, no matches. You'll be silly, you'll be bad bandits. And history tells us that nobody likes bad bandits. I love this picture. Using technology from 2001. My case for this is, it's pretty bad. I recently picked up a project where the site was hosted on a physical co-location box that was administered via the cPanel software. And to access the database through cPanel, you had to go on PHP MyAdmin. This site was built last year. I mean, you can't take down an outlaw with using a sword, right? Right, John?
You sure?
Yeah, of course I'm sure. They'd have like a Smith & Wesson revolver and they just, they just shoot you, wouldn't they? You'd have a sword and then they just shoot you.
I think you're right, friend.
Yeah, no, I'm right. All right. We have things like AWS, we have DigitalOcean, you have Forge, you have things available to you to use modern tooling. Use them. This one is not related to the Wild West, as you can see, but I will give you an example. If you use technology from 2001 and then you're frightened about it and don't want to tell the client and you try and hide it, it will not work. This here is the picture of a car park in Leicester in England. It is famous for something quite ridiculous. It's the location of the skeleton of King Richard III, who was killed in 1485 and was the last king of England to die in battle. He was discovered in 2012. You cannot hide forever. You will be found. If you are cutting corners and you're putting horrendous things in your code, and we will see some horrendous things in your code, you will be found. You can't hide. On the same project, the developers who were trying to do an MVP didn't know how to access the server instance that it was on via the command line using SSH. So they could only FTP up files. So they didn't know how to control Laravel on the server. So what did they do? They created this route. What do you think it does? It does that. Don't do that, ever. Please don't expose your application's core logic and the command line to the outside world. That's just, what do you think, John? Oh, what do you think, John? You can't speak again.
Don't make sense.
Yeah, no, you'll need to repeat that. What do you think, John?
Well, it don't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. Thank you for finally getting your words out. Right, and also, John, there's more. There's more. Yes, there is more. The same set of developers, they had no knowledge how servers work, so they didn't know how to debug things. So they didn't know how to check their server setup. So what did they do? They pushed up a controller via FTP. Not SFTP, by the way, just FTP. And it looked like this. There's the test controller that they've pushed up. What did it look like? You want to know, don't you? Because I'm going to show you. It looked like this. No, don't do that. Don't expose your entire PHP server instance, ever. Can you speak again, John? What do you think about this?
No, you got me scared.
Yeah, no, I'm scared too, looking at that. It's pretty bad, isn't it? My favorite GIF of all time is this. This project and several others that I've worked on, and I promise you I'm not making this up, no source control, no Git, no GitHub, no GitLab, no Bitbucket. So that means I can use this GIF because it shows the chaos. There is a boat that is on fire. There is a wiggly worm thing. There are inflatable donkeys flowing around. Bananas are happening. Please, use source control. Please, it makes Jim sad if you don't use source control. And I will get out my revolver at dawn, or I don't know, something like that. I love this. I started using AI for this because AI is ridiculous. Is it going to take over all of our jobs, Jim? No. This is AI saying, I said, draw me a picture of what a cowboy looks like if it was designed by committee. And that's what it came out with. What I'm trying to say here is, I'm going to say it, okay? It's a bit naughty of me to say this. I shouldn't say this, but I'm sorry, Laracon India. Sometimes your clients are idiots. I'm reminded of a time when some developer was showing a client like a dashboard, and they were like, here's the dashboard. And the client was like, ooh, it looks great, but could you just move that graph there is 1 pixel out? Could you just move it? And the developer was like, okay. Pushed the left arrow key. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. It wasn't a live site. It was actually it was an image mock-up. So nothing actually happened. I mean, so that's design by committee. You can see that when I say AI, I mean, design by committee is bad. Your clients are idiots, right? Don't do everything they say. You're the experts, not them. Otherwise, you end up with this. There is a cowboy that has got pink stuff and has got feathers for some reason. And also, if we zoom in a little bit, you could see, for some reason, AI has chosen on the committee, there is a donkey with feathers and blue stuff on its face. Don't do everything that your clients say. There have been at least 3 or 4 major outages in the last 3 years caused by this. Sometimes your clients are idiots, but your junior developers, I'm not going to say that. Your junior developers need your support. Do not give them the keys to everything. That is silly. And that is actually what has been causing major outages in production at major companies. You have a set of, like, the classic case for this is, if you want to develop on our platform, we need to give you UAT, like UAT credentials. Why? Well, because there's so much data and we've built the platform and bolted things on that local doesn't work. We haven't built out local properly. So just connect to UAT, it's fine. And they go, okay. And they're juniors, and they look up and go, oh, I don't know, it's these environment variables. And it's production, and then they run migrations, and everything is on fire. And the cowboys stand around, and they are confused. Make sure developers cannot access anything outside of your, it sounds silly, outside of their local environment. Otherwise, burning things in the desert. So, framework wars. You are developers here, and your chosen framework of choice is Laravel. Your chosen choice might be Laravel for the same reason my chosen choice is Laravel. I love the way it's opinionated, and I love the developer experience and the documentation that it offers. And you can build and develop and do what you love rapidly. But your job is to ship software. It's not to go onto the internet and fight other people about their choice of framework. Do what you do, and don't bother about anyone else. Needlessly dunking on other PHP frameworks doesn't help anyone. So this is the only quote that comes from me rather than my lawmakers, which is this. Every time you go onto the internet and tell everyone their choice of PHP stack is wrong because it's different to yours, I will apply to speak at more conferences so I can show up and tell you to stop doing it. Please don't do it. Concentrate on the things you love. So, in conclusion to the bad, roll up, roll up, roll up, come and see the magic PHP show. Come see the magic, the new stunning elephant coin, and see a real-life WordPress site burning on PHP 4. Look, we're not selling snake oil here. We're better than that. We can do better. How can we do better? It's time to move on to the good. This is from a tabletop role-playing game called Dungeons & Dragons from the 1970s in the United States, and it tells you where your character aligns and what they are. So if we look at this in context, we probably want to be the good, right? We want to be lawful good, yes. Come on, clicker. You want to be lawful good. You know, you don't want to be, say, you don't want to be the others. We don't want to be, say, lawful evil. Or, I don't know, like chaotic evil. We certainly don't want to be like that, do we? I jest. John, have you had to work with, like, spaghetti Node.js code in a backend before?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, no, it's terrible, isn't it? Right, so here are the things we can use. We don't even have one test runner anymore. We have 2 because Pest is built from the Laravel ecosystem. So I am saying every time that you don't write a test for a feature, John Wayne gets worse at acting from I forgot he's here, isn't he? Where have you gone? Yeah, sorry, John. I did this slide before I invited you on, so I kind of put that in.
You better wipe that smile off your face, or I'll do it for you.
Okay, no, I understand you're angry. It's just that the next slide, I also say the same thing. Is that okay?
No.
Oh, well, I've done it anyway, so we're going to have to crack on. Sorry, look, John, I promise this is the last time I say that you're bad at acting, okay? Right?
You do that again, and I'll break every bone in your body.
Yeah, no, you're right to be angry. And also, it makes me angry as well because people don't use the tooling that's available to them. PHP CS Fixer, configure it, or use Laravel Pint. I don't care what you use, just use it. Remember that one developer's beautiful one-liner is another developer's hell. Use linting, it's available to you. And similarly, once the abstract syntax tree, which is the worst thing to pronounce ever, was introduced, we then got extremely powerful static analysis tools. That's SAM-PHP or PHP Stan. Again, I don't care which one you use, just use it. It's available. It'll be semi-compiled code that will find bugs before your test runner does. And that, available in the PHP ecosystem, is magic. So, to summarize in sort of that sort of tooling, this is James Seconde from Ruav. It is essential to be using a static analysis tool, a unit testing tool, and a coding style tool at an absolute minimum. So, I mentioned that I was going to talk about this a little bit, but tech debt. I am telling you, tech debt will happen. You can't stop it, not unless you're superheroes. You need to manage your tech debt. How do we do this? Let us hear from lawmaker James again. Every single time something needs to be improved, a corner is cut, something is raised that needs attention, no matter how trivial it is, make an issue or ticket for it. If you think this will never get worked on, it doesn't matter. You'll find your backlog growing quite fast, but it's a good warning sign. If nothing else, you've uncovered that you have technical debt. This is about metrics. This is about quantifying the amount of tech debt you have in real time as everyone's worked on it. If you don't manage this, things will just get lost, and your tech debt pile just goes, whoa, and then it's like, oh, suddenly you have 10 years of tech debt. You heard me mention the database problem. Please don't give them production keys. This is how you stop it, and I don't understand why in all the places not all of them, but some places I've worked at, or some people I've spoken to, they can't onboard new developers, doesn't matter whether junior, senior, mid, doesn't matter. They can't onboard them quickly because the whole application is not portable. We have tooling available to do this. Within Laravel itself, use the database seeders. Use Laravel Sail, Laravel Herd, anything. I don't care. Make sure that it is all packaged up. Do not have bits and you have to sort of wire it and then you have to connect to another database. Use the tooling that is available. Make sure it's portable. Company-wide style guide. Who's writing style guides? Good news, nobody. What I say here is act like the next developer that looks at your code has your address and they're armed. Our job as developers is to set up companies for success, and style guides help onboarding new developers into your business. Here is how we write CSS. Here is how we write defensive code. Here is how we write queries. Time is money. Tell your developers how you write code in your style at your business. Debugging properly saved my back-end engineering career, pretty much, because I was never set up for it. I don't understand why I wasn't set up for it. It was just, oh, just dump and die, and do that every single time. If you have xdebug configured within your application and then your IDE, you can look at what the framework is doing. You can change things during runtime. You have full visibility of what your application is doing in the request-response lifecycle. Do it. Okay, it might be difficult to set up at first, but do it. Here's an actual use case from Jump 24. This is from Dan. We use Ray by Spartsy for quick fixes, shout out. And xdebug is available for our developers on every local project. If you set it up, you will set up your developers for success. Every single person I've spoken to about the most common problems they see in Laravel applications say this. Laravel has an opinionated way of working, and it has it has documentation that is extremely thorough. Do it the Laravel way. That's what it's for. This is Laracon. Of course, that's what I'm going to say. If this was SymphonyCon, I would say do it the Symphony way. Work with the framework. That's what it's designed to do. So here is D speaking specifically on this. Developers insisting on raw SQLs everywhere. In the case that I've seen, it's because someone didn't know how to use Eloquent ORM, or they were used to something else like Doctrine. And so they just use raw SQL everywhere. It doesn't give you any context. You're working against the framework. So writing your own authentication, we have Laravel Breeze. We have Laravel Jetstream. Use it. Or going round the default job queue implementation, I've seen custom RabbitMQ sort of plugging things in. You're like, but why are you going around the Laravel way of doing things? Just do it the way the framework's designed to do. I love her quote here. It's like choosing the stairs next to the escalator. Talking of tooling that's available to you, I mean, we're at a conference, right? So come to conferences. Go to local meetups. The developer scene, and particularly the agency developer scene within India, is growing massively. We have new meetups popping up all over the place. Go to them. You get free knowledge. You get to speak to speakers afterwards. It's free training. It's amazing. That's how my entire career has been sort of based on that, and that's what I do. And a massive amount of tooling is available to us. Jetstream, Echo, Cashier, Livewire, Pulse, Reverb, Vapor, Octane, Herd. You've seen demos of them yesterday, sorry. Slightly controversial for the next one, but I like this. This is from Matt. Every single project that uses Laravel should use Tailwind. Look, I love Tailwind, and I started enjoying writing front-end code again. I know it's a sort of a hot topic, but it made me enjoy code. I loved front-end coding, and I hated front-end coding because it's rocket science. Suddenly it was like, oh, I know what's going on. I like writing CSS again.
Sounds like good advice.
It does sound like good advice, doesn't it? Thanks, John. Right. So on to the biggest reason to be the law. Here's a wanted poster. I'm talking about bounty hunters here. Do not be that agency in the room that thinks it doesn't matter if you do a bad job, because there's a long line of people waiting in a queue, waiting for software. Word of mouth, quality software creates repeat customers with money, not just demand. I'm telling you, this is the most important thing I can give to you today. People say there's no sort of actual value in delivering all of this quality when I need to deliver it as fast as possible, and if they need something else, they'll have to come back later and pay for it. That does not make for happy clients, but it doesn't make for particularly good repeat business. A day may come with Laravel where there are so many vendors that you'll just be a drop in the ocean. When that day comes out, you will need to stand out, and you won't stand out if you're known within your community for shipping mostly bad code and not treating your developers well. So you can also, this is an untapped thing that I don't really understand why a lot of agencies haven't really understood this, but accessing the product markets. Spartsy, Beyond Code, Titan, if you get so good at this, at shipping for clients, you can create your own products. In some cases, that's extra revenue stream. In some cases, you can partner with other agencies or other actual companies that want to use your products. If you don't believe me, I don't know, Ziggy, Herd, Jigsaw, Ray, Tinkerwell, you name it. So it takes, actually, how long have I got to, how much time have I got left, John, to speak?
I got 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay, that's all right. It takes years to build trust and reputation. You don't just get a Lambo without pride in what you do. Take pride in being awesome at your craft. So, hard work. This didn't come overnight for Taylor. This is hard work, and this is what hard work looks like. But having pride in what you do, I can't tell you how kind of important that is. So, if we come to an ugly conclusion, everyone says to me all the time who is not a PHP developer, and it's old and people have stopped using it, and its stats are going down, and 80% of the web is now like 75 or 70% of the web. Yes, okay, it will go down over time. I can't tell you that won't happen, because it will. However, Laravel and Symfony usage is going up. So that's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter whether other people are on the web. Our frameworks of choice are getting bigger. It is in everyone's interest in this room for PHP, Laravel, Symfony, Drupal, I don't care. It's in everyone's interest for all of these things to succeed. And also from my point of view, and I'm going to be slightly selfish here, I do not want to take advice from my operating system or random boot campers on X about choosing PHP. If you don't know what I mean, here you go. Random boot camper. Every PHP legacy is legacy code by default. Who's with me? Ha ha ha. PHP is bad. I have achieved comedy. This is macOS when you install PHP. You are macOS. You're not supposed to judge me on whether I use PHP. Go and judge someone else, like Microsoft. Oh. So, let us ship quality software together. I want India, it's in my interest for India to be a massive, thriving Laravel market. Go and look at the partners program. If you're an agency that isn't a partner, go and speak to one of the partners that is actually sponsoring because they were here today. Be the law. I've been James Seconde. It's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from, where are you? And it's goodbye from John. Do you want to say goodbye to everyone, John?
I'll get going. Take it easy.
Fair enough, yeah. Thanks, John. Oh, actually, whoa, John, one more thing. Before I finish, do you think I should throw my cowboy hat into the crowd?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes. John says yes. Catch. Thank you, Laracon India.
Please come on the stage. Again, big round of applause for one of the most energetic presentations. What else can be better than this? The start of the day, full of energy. I have a couple of questions.
Cool.
A lot of people ask on Twitter as well. So, one question is, can you please come here? Yep.
I'm like shying away from you.
You're also DJ, right?
I used to DJ. My last gig ever was for my mate's wedding in Ibiza.
But can you try and have some bits like
I've never done that, ever, literally.
Yeah. So one question is like, sometimes it becomes unavoidable to connect to ProDB to fix some nasty bug, which is not replicable locally, and downloading GBs of data is not practical.
Yeah.
And also it's complaint. So how to go about it?
I've got the answer is not what they want to hear. And the answer is, well, that's a problem that you need to look at the infrastructure of the database and how the modeling is actually set up, which means, you know, I said that tech debt just goes like that and goes like that. And when you get to the top, you almost can't solve it unless you tear everything down. So the way I would probably do it is probably take a snapshot of the existing prod database. Then you have to run a script to anonymize all of the data so that it's, because if you've got like personal information and personal data in there, and then run test runners across it to try and replicate the problem. Yeah, it's going to be hard, I'm sorry.
But that's the best way to optimize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Second, a lot of people talked about your presentation. It was amazing. So one of the person like Rishabh asked, like, really enjoying the enthusiasm on the presentation. A small question for you. What was the idea behind choosing a bank robber on your presentation topic? Seems like sailing in the storm.
I said, just so everyone knows, I said, don't be a bank robber. I used bank robbers in it, but don't be a bank robber. So my first mentor, when I was in the start of my career, was actually, this was in London, and he was from India. And he told me that when he grew up, him and his dad used to always watch old Western films. So I said, I've got a talk in India. Do you think I should do it? What theme do you think? And he said, you know what I'd do, Jimbo. Do it on the West. Do it on John Wayne. So I was like, well, okay then. The Wild West and bank robbers it is.
Good idea. All right, thank you, James.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Cheers.